A man who measures money in bundles and time in Con Airs. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on it. Just gonna get it on. Aries Spears back in studio. Aries has dates coming up. It's going to be at the Meyer Theater. That'll be in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It'll be May 9th. And then off to the Wilbur, which is a beautiful theater in Boston. That'll be May 11th. Hulu Theater at MSG. That'll be May 18th. And you can get tickets at ariesspears.com. Aries, you know from, let's see, Mad TV for all those years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the most from probably Mad TV.
Maybe, but, you know, hardcore comedy fans might also say Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam and Def Jam and maybe a couple other things.
And you're on Mad TV, second longest cast member?
I think so. 8 years.
Yeah. Who was longest then?
I think Deborah Wilson.
Deborah Wilson.
Yeah.
I remember interviewing her a few times.
Yeah, she's a firecracker.
She seemed a little different.
Definitely different. Yeah.
I'm not sure what she's doing today.
She does a ton of voiceover work, specifically in video games.
Oh.
See, I'm a gamer, so everything from Call of Duty to End of Days. She makes the rounds.
Oh, good. I'm glad, because sometimes I think back on some people and I think, I wonder how they're doing today.
I think everybody's doing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not everyone. Some people aren't here anymore, but
yeah. I mean, you know, that's God rest their souls.
Agreed. So, controversy with you and Tiffany Haddish, and I know the lawyers have said we're not talking about that.
I can't walk down that road.
I get it. I just want to put it out there that I'm not avoiding it, or you're not avoiding it. It's just a thing where the lawyers went.
Yes, it's the legal tape, man.
Yeah, I get it. When you know, I think I know Mark Garrigus, attorney, pretty good. And when he sees someone like Alec Baldwin sit down for an interview, he goes, "Don't do it." I would never let my client do that.
The interview.
Yeah, because then at some point 2 years later, you're in court and they're pulling out snippets of the interview and they're going, "Here's what you said."
Right.
So most attorneys are like, stay away from the subject until we can get and settle this thing.
Yes, and I can't wait till that day comes.
All right. Well, when it does, the day after, you can come back and
absolutely
tell us all about it.
Absolutely.
So you start off young, like 14, doing stand-up in New York?
New York City, New York and New Jersey.
How is it that I always marvel at people that figure this stuff out when they're in junior high?
You know, I knew I wasn't going to be worth a damn with anything else. You know, I'd always been, from the time I was a latchkey kid and having television raise me, something about that tube, man. I was always, drawn to it. The ability to mimic voices and accents and personalities. So it just seemed like a natural thing for me that I knew early on. And I knew I didn't like school, and I knew enough about school to know that unless you were going to be something specific to what the curriculum was, it was useless, you know?
Who were your early voices?
My very first was Louis Armstrong, because my mother is a jazz and blues singer. And she, before he passed away, she was touring with Lionel Hampton, the great legendary jazz artist, and had a picture of her performing at the White House in front of Reagan. So I heard a lot of jazz coming up, a lot of Thelonious Monk, a lot of Miles Davis, Charlie Pride. So Louis was probably one of the first.
And I mean, your voice almost lends itself to that.
Yeah, you know, I always say, man, doing impressions, it's like being a singer. How singers have an ear for tone, inflection, cadence, nuance. Everybody's voice is a note. So, you know, Louis got that potato, you say tomato, let's go, loading off. So he's got that. And even when I do Tony Soprano, you know, fucking Uncle June thinks he's on the bush.
Right.
Friend of New Jersey. When Uncle June is not, I'm the king of the bush in New Jersey. All my guys know that pussy, Shell Christopher. Even Uncle June and Johnny Shack. So, you know, with Tony, it's the shh, like hesh. You're talking about hesh and jaddish.
Right.
So if you hit those notes, man, you're in pocket.
The thing Your mic's not on, Chris, by
I
the way.
didn't think it was. Yep. Okay.
All right. But you got your through the earphones?
I've only said like 2 things. So
Okay.
wasn't
I
sure.
heard it on the first one. All right. Now, the thing I always marvel about at people that do voices is how their face looks. When people do Robert De Niro, their face turns into Robert De Niro. And I'm like, I get the part where you do the voice.
Right.
Why is your face turning in?
Well, I think-
Is it connected?
I think that if you're great at it and you're a perfectionist and you're a stickler for detail, that's part of it. You know, when you look at Rich Little, who was one of the masters, from
Still
Rich,
is.
Yeah, from Rich Little to Frank Caliendo. You know, you gotta encompass it all. You know, you gotta be that person.
No, I get it. I don't get the skill set. And what I'm saying is it makes sense to me that certain people can mimic.
Yeah.
And I don't have that ability, but some people can. And I'll liken it to this. There's people who can do stuff with their tongue.
I'm wondering where this is going. I'm with you so far.
We're listening.
All I can do is stick out my tongue.
Okay.
But I had a friend who could take his tongue and make it into a taco shell. Like it would just curl it up on both sides,
Yeah.
look like a taco.
Yeah.
Then he could do a rolling wave
Yeah.
down his tongue, right?
Yeah.
Then he could flip his tongue over. He could go doink, 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 flip it.
Sounds
And,
like he was meant for gay porn.
he turned out to be, he liked the ladies, and the ladies like him
Yeah,
as
you
well.
know, freaks are
but
among
I'm
us.
just saying, I can't do it.
Yeah, there's some
Can't
things
do
I
it.
wish I could do as a black man. I hate the fact that I let down my race because my dick is not stereotypical.
Oh, it's not up to the...
Basketball and penis size, I am a letdown to my race.
Can I shed some light on the black man's penis?
Please,
And I think you're going to like where I'm going with this.
bring some light to the dark.
I have a theory. My theory is the black man's penis isn't necessarily bigger, but the only black man's penis we ever see as a white man is in pornography. And they will not let a small dick or medium-sized dick black man into pornography. You can't, there's a lot of average size white cocks in pornography. Not going to let a brother in
You know,
with a medium-sized cock.
I'm not a big porn watcher, but I know of, John Holmes has just entered the chat. But I know, look, that's a myth. It's like, of course, listen, all black men don't have big penises. All white men don't have small penises. But the overall percentage is in terms of big penises is in favor of us.
Well, I talked to Dr. Drew about this once.
And he said...
He said that people that come from areas which are much warmer climates
Yeah.
have like longer parts because it cools you better. Like think about an Eskimo. No one ever says, you see that? You see the hog on that Eskimo? He had a huge dong.
compact.
You know what I mean? No, you think about Eskimos, you think about like shorter parts, bigger. I'm trying to retain heat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The black man comes from a place where they got to dissipate. So
Right out.
the parts get longer. So that could be
This makes
part
sense.
of the baked-in black man's penis because you come from a place that needs to breathe. You got to air out,
Hey, I'm not going to argue with you, man. If that's what he said, I'll go with it.
Well, let's forget about the penis for a second. Let's just picture your average tribesman in Africa from 100 years ago, and you just picture that guy in his build. And then you picture like an Eskimo in a place where you have to stay warm.
Right.
It's a different physique. It's a different body.
Okay.
And I'm saying maybe the penis just followed
This is
along.
probably the part where I should have stayed in school.
Yeah,
But
well,
I didn't know where this information would be
I'm
useful.
arguing against my own porn black cock theory with my native tribesman theory.
Okay.
But either way, you pick the one that works for you, and that'll be fine.
Hey, we're not gonna argue that,
Right.
We
So
love
not
that
a
stereotype.
hoopster.
I'm a fan of it. I just never played. Most kids, black kids growing up, in the ghetto and in certain situations, hoop is an outlet.
Did you grow up in that situation?
I
'Cause
always
your mom sounds pretty accomplished.
No, I always say I was nowhere near rich, but wasn't dead broke. You know, I always say in terms of blackness, I'm a Huxtable, not a Good Times guy.
Okay,
you know,
good.
I was a Huxtable, not an Evans. I didn't grow up in the projects. I didn't grow up, you know, in drug-infested, violent, riddled neighborhoods. I grew up pretty decent. I wasn't, but again, I had some mice and roaches in my house.
Sure.
And we struggled a bit. But yeah, it wasn't bad.
All right, well, here's a question then. So they will say that, you know, you got Good Times, the Evans family, and then you got the Huxtable family.
Yeah.
You know, and one is poverty and projects. And every third episode, because I watched every show you did, I was the same way. Bad student, latchkey, kind of hung out.
Yeah.
TV was my best friend.
Yes.
I watched everything. Every third episode of the Good Times would be the dad, by the way, was trying to get a job for the entire 9-year run. He was never employed the entire time. He
was employed at times, and then he would always get the boot.
He'd get the boot, but he'd come back and they'd go, how'd it go down at the dock? Did you get a job? He wasn't trying to get jobs as a high-powered attorney. He was trying to get a job at a loading dock. And he'd come back and they said they weren't hiring. And then they didn't have any money. And then there's the Huxtables.
Yeah.
Everyone's accomplished.
Yes.
And with Bill Cosby. Okay. Now, they would say that it's important to see the examples of the success to be motivated, you know, versus the poverty for a young black child or a young child. You know what I mean? But me personally, who grew up with welfare and food stamps and poverty, I got depressed when I watched the Brady Bunch because I'd see successful families and how it could be.
Right.
There could be a second story on our house. There could be a second bathroom in our house. We could have a maid who made us dinner every night. We could sit at the table together. You know, my family was a mess. So I would look at that. I would get depressed. But then I'd watch Sanford and Son or Chico and the Man, and I would feel better about my lot in life. So the question to you is, what made you feel better? The Jeffersons, or I should say the Good Times, or the Huxtables?
I think they were kind of both equally as important because, you know, both, you know, swam in reality, you know, and nothing motivates you to be better than seeing that side of life. And you go, well, I know I don't want that. You know, I don't want to grow up like that. But then you also, you can look at the Huxtables and go, you know, that's exactly what I want. So I think both were just, you know, in terms of the black community, equally as important because they both were set in reality. But prior to the Cosby Show, all we had was Good Times until the Jeffersons came along. So, you know, I think that white America needed to see both sides because otherwise those that are, you know, set in their naive or racist ways want to believe that stereotype is all there is. So that's why I say, you know, even when I talk about Obama, or rather Cosby, when I was talking about his whole scandal, I was like, you know, I understand what he did was obviously beyond fucked up, but you know, the Cosby Show allowed white America to see us in a light that we hadn't been seen before, or really to that level. So
you're saying you can't throw it all out.
No.
I agree with. I don't. I agree with that.
You should be able to celebrate the accomplishments and.
I agree. That's all anyone is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there was extremes. You know, let OJ keep his Heisman. That's what he did when he did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm all for that, and then you can talk about other shit he did.
Yeah,
along the way. I
appreciate the art, but you can hate the artist. It's fine.
Yes.
Wagner's that way with classical music. I think we're getting too fast to tear everything down because somebody fucked up. You know, I agree. Listen, I feel that way about Phil Spector. Phil Spector created so much incredible music and so much incredible art. The Wall of Sound, when you listen how much joy that guy brought America and beyond, internationally, because people obviously are listening to all the stuff he produced, and and George Harrison, and all this great, and then he shoots a cocktail waitress. All right, we don't approve.
No,
but let's not forget about how much he brought to the world.
Well,
that's all.
I mirror that with R. Kelly. He's an incredible songwriter, like an amazing songwriter. But again, we don't agree with what he did. But again, as far as the artist is concerned, you can't throw away the fact that he's an incredible artist.
I brought this up the other day. Is R. Kelly in jail for the rest of his entire life? Is that it?
For some reason, thought he got out.
Oh, you think he's out?
No, I thought he was out, but people said he's still in.
I now we got to know, but
I thought he was still in.
I thought he was still in.
He's serving a 31-year sentence.
So he
as of last year. So.
Wow.
And is R. Kelly
North Carolina?
Is he 50? Is he going to do most?
He's 57.
Wow, that's pretty much life.
Well, now we're 88. Really? Although people do pretty good in prison, and I'll tell you why.
Is there such thing?
Is doing well in prison?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you were in prison.
I know, but listen, in terms of your body, like again, back to Mark Garagos. Mark Garagos has dealt with clients and, rich guys, but they got busted doing something. And you're doing 18 months or 2 years or something, which feels like a lot when you're a middle-aged rich guy, But Mark would say to the guys, you're going to come out down 30 pounds and sober. And they would. I will bring you Exhibit A, the Menendez brothers. The Menendez brothers have not touched booze, a lot of sunlight, cigarettes. They haven't loved and lost. They just haven't taken the pounding that the average human being takes. And you take a look at someone and you snatch them up at age 23 and they go, okay, what would you look like if I got hold of you at 23 and you've never touched a cigarette, you never touched booze, you've never had a drink in that entire period of time. There's no Cinnabon, there's no nothing. It's just, and not even a lot of sunlight, just reading and exercise. And then they get hold of you when you're 55, you wouldn't look as worn out. Don't we all know comedians and celebrities and stuff where you go, oh, that chick, well, she's been fucking... Yeah, she drank a little too much, spent a little too much time in the sun. Like that shit caught up to her. Right? None of that. The first thing you see when they show the Menendez brothers is everyone goes, oh, they look real good. Yeah, they do, because they're not out slugging it out with the rest of us.
Yeah, I'd rather look a little bad and avoid ass rape.
No, I get it. And ass rape can rejuvenate, though, Mike.
Yeah, I don't need that
you
kind of
rejuvenation. You cannot rejuvenate without ass rape.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I would rather be outside drinking.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it does have a thing where it works as a kind of preservative for guys. Now, I don't know if they're in their 50s at this point or whatever they are, but they look better than
you ever see. The one on the left is before he went in?
No, that's after being in for 25 years.
The one on the left with the hair?
They're brothers.
Yeah, they're brothers. I mean, not brothers as you know it, but
and the other one on the other side is his brother.
Yeah, that's correct. The Menendez brothers.
Yeah. I was just thinking for 1 second that
you thought like a before and after.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is a few years back, but I mean, he's already been in for 20 years at this point. I'm just saying, you ever see that dude who like comes into the hardware store and he's clearly just put a cigarette out and he looks like he's been divorced a few times and it looks like he gets hammered every night. And that guy, and you go, that guy's 51. He looks fucking haggard. You know what I mean? And he works construction or something. I'm saying it's a preservative.
Prison is a preservative.
It is. I mean, when Mark says to his guys, "You're going to come back here sober and 30 pounds lighter," they do when
now
they come out of
life,
prison,
though, right? Are they?
Well, now they're thinking about
making moves.
They're making moves. They may be getting out.
Wait a minute.
You want to live in a world? You want to live in a world where R. Kelly is in prison and the Menendez brothers are running free?
That's that privilege, baby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how much white privilege I got because they've been in for like 35 years or something.
But piss doesn't beat murder.
Yeah, but there was a whole bunch of stuff that they kept out of the first trial, which is the dad was abusing. The dad was like being sexually abusive to them, and they didn't let it enter in and stuff like that. R. Kelly's eligible for release when he's 79.
Jesus.
Yeah. Lyle is 56. He's the best looking 56-year-old on the planet. That's all I'm saying. He's newly
Which
minted.
one is Lyle? The bald one?
I don't know. I wish I knew. And Eric is 53.
Oh, he said yes.
So, you think R. Kelly's making music in the joint?
I don't know if he's making music, but I saw a clip where he was singing a cappella. I guess the guys were playing basketball, and at one point he just started singing a cappella, and he, sounded like R. Kelly, man. It was very potent.
I bet he stares at that prison wall every day and thinks, I wish I could fly.
I was about to say that.
I wish I could get over this fucking barbed wire.
I swear to God, I was about to say that.
Somebody had to say it.
I was literally just thinking that.
So you start at 14.
Yeah.
And your mom probably gets it because she's a performer,
she's the
right?
one that she was my Joe Jackson without the abuse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And where's Dad?
He's kind of in the picture, but Dad always secretly wanted to be an entertainer, but never really had the cojones, to really go out there and do it, or never had anybody to support him the way my mother supported me.
So
he was a little envious of me at times.
Is she driving you? Sorry, is she driving you to the clubs and stuff like that at 14?
Yep.
Does that mean, I don't know, 9th grade?
Oh shit. Junior high school? Yeah.
What were some of your premises as a 14-year-old comedian?
I was just doing a bunch of shit jokes, like literally doo-doo jokes and impressions. I didn't really have much of an act at that point, but between I think 14 and 17 is when it started to culminate into something.
And you're doing, what are like early impressions? If you can do impressions, you can get up on stage at 14.
Of course, yeah, because you can lean on that if you don't really have strong material.
Right.
But one of my heroes in comedy was Eddie Murphy. And one of the things that I noticed about him early, and I studied Richard Pryor too. I studied all the greats, but Eddie was my era, whereas Pryor was my dad's era. Eddie was never a one-trick pony. Eddie could do phenomenal impressions, but that's not all he did. So I kind of said to myself, I don't want to be a guy that just comes out and does impressions. I want to be like Eddie. I want to do voices. I want to do impressions. I want to actually have material, strong, intelligent-based material. So, matter of fact, now at 49 and 35 years in, it's like I hardly even do impressions anymore on stage. I mean, I'll do it if people yell it out or something, but for the most part, I've just been wanted to make sure that my material was strong.
Yeah, well, I think the impressions can be like a break glass in case of emergency, like it's always there. Crowd's always going to like it.
I like to think of it more like, dunking. It's like I can, if I'm playing ball, I can dunk anytime I want, but I want to make sure that the other facets of my game are just as sharp.
Yeah. Except for you can't dunk, though, right?
No. Racially, no.
Racially, no.
Racially.
But, yeah. Right. Yeah, I love a comedian. I like a fat comedian who gets up there and never talks about being fat. They're very rare.
They're very rare, but
shouldn't say never talks. I should say does the first 5 minutes and doesn't bring it up, and then gets into
one of the greatest fat comedians who talked about being fat. God rest his soul, John Panette. Some of his jokes about being big were hilarious.
No, I agree. It's hilarious. I'm not saying.
But you see it sometimes as a crutch.
I see it as I would like the person. I like to see a female get up there and just do observational and not like, dating. Am I right, ladies? Like dating. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you're always going to work in some of who you are,
yeah,
where you come from. If you're fat, it's going to come up. Black, whatever, Hispanic, it's going to come up. I just don't like it when it's the gist of the act.
Well, to that point, I don't like it when I perform with white comedians who, because they perform in a black room, pander to black people.
Oh, really?
And what makes...
What do they do?
the swagger. They throw in some, for lack of better words, some jive. They try to talk black, act black. The essence of how black people are as a culture, our energy. Whereas, this is why I think Bill Burr is one of the greatest. I've seen Bill Burr several times perform in front of black people and doesn't pander at all. He's Bill Burr, and the material is so strong.
So he's played some prisons?
He had to go there.
Well, it's not the Wilbur.
No, it is the Wilbur.
The Wilbur.
In Boston. He's from Boston.
I know, but that's a predominantly black crowd that comes out and sees Bill Burr.
No, but he's performed in Atlanta.
Although now we're making sense. That's why I brought up the Wilbur for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing Atlanta.
You went Donald Trump on me with the prison shit. Black people relate to me because I have a mugshot. Oh, God.
So... yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I respect the shit out of whoever you are.
Yeah.
Fat, black, Hispanic, female. Just get up there and start bringing the comedy.
Yeah.
And don't... I don't want to call it a crutch because, hey, if you're funny, you're funny. John Panette is funny, you know, but don't make it all about that thing. Or you're lesbian or gay or whatever it is.
It's hard to say, don't make it about that, because at the end of the day, our job is to be funny. And if you are incredibly powerfully funny doing that, well, then you're doing your job.
I agree, but I do think it's sort of, here's what I would liken it to. I talked to some guys the other day and they're going, can you do a clean 40-minute stand-up special, you know? And I thought, oh, man. So you start going through your material and you go, no, can't do that one.
Well, I'm one of those guys. No.
Right. But the reality is it is a challenge.
Absolutely it is.
And I think I would probably grow from going, you know what? Yeah, I'll do 40 minutes clean and I'll figure that out. And it's a challenge, but it's doable. And I kind of feel that way about being fat, not getting up there, being a woman and not doing the dating scene stuff. I want to see the challenge of doing that.
But I think that's a little different because in the core of who you are, in terms of, again, I'm watching guys like Pryor, Murphy, Chris Rock, Chappelle. When I don't like going clean because that's just not who I am. That's not my makeup as a person. When I'm not doing stand-up, engaging in conversation, hanging out with the boys, I cuss. I know. I'm who I am. So, there's an art in that. If that's who you really are, Brian Regan.
Well, if that's who you are, it's not a challenge.
Sinbad.
It's not a challenge.
Right. I know Sinbad can get dirty if he wanted to, but that's not who he is. So
but what I'm saying is I think we're making the same point, which I'm not that person either.
Right.
And that's why I look at it as, could you do it? Listen, in my life, I've done this pro celebrity driving, Toyota Grand Prix,
Yeah.
All right. That's easy for me because I'm good at it. But I've also done Dancing with the Stars. That's hard. Yeah. I'm not good at it, but I looked at Dancing with the Stars. I probably got more out of it because I looked at it as like, you're not good at this, but you got to try to be good at it. You got to stretch out a little bit.
Being comedians, what we have is a muscle. And if you're good at what you do, and this is natural for who you are, we can do clean. I know I can, because comedy and being funny is a muscle that I naturally have. But it's not who I really am as a person.
But you said you did respect Bill Burr for getting out there in front of a black audience and just
himself.
doing what he does. Yeah, which I'm that's kind of what I'm talking about, which is not falling back on a thing. John Panette, you got to find his Chinese buffet bit.
Oh, it's hilarious. One of the best.
I don't know that he could do that today. Or he could do it, but I don't know that society would tolerate it today.
Fuck society.
I agree with you in terms of fucking society.
My comedy cocaine is uncut, man.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And so when I bring it up, I don't bring it up because I agree with society. I'm just saying I have talked to a lot of comedians, who said, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, but no, they can. I just think that, this age that we live in now of pussification, of wokeness, political correctness, it's it's making people feel like they have to adjust. And I don't think you have to adjust. I think if your product is strong and stands on what it is, the people will come to you. And I think that the climate is shifting a little bit, where people are getting tired of being told what's acceptable, what's not acceptable.
I agree.
And they kind of like, it's funny like this. When I talk about my podcast and people ask me, which podcast about? And I go, it's like alcohol in the Prohibition era. Everybody wants to drink. People want to get drunk. People want to get fucked up. They want to have a good time. So while everybody else is telling you what you can't listen to and how to behave, our podcast is straight alcohol. We're selling illegal. We're selling liquor at a time where it's illegal to sell it. So we don't do political correctness. We don't do wokeness. We are raw, in your face, uncut cocaine.
We got John Panette. Sorry. Somebody in his family had to do panay. Anyway, it's the Chinese buffet.
Oh, this is great.
John Panette, I mean, did he make it to 50?
I don't know what age
he
was.
died at 50.
Oh,
50.
Well, he made it to 50.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I never met him. You must have met him.
I never met him either.
Oh, you didn't come across him in all the clubs and all the road and all that stuff?
No.
Yeah, I never. What year did he die?
2014.
Oh, what the hell? Why didn't I come across him? Why didn't me or Aries come across John Panette?
I didn't schedule his travel.
Well, speaking of food, I was thinking about, so I was selling my house, and I have to sign off on a bunch of declarations, And so California is just nothing but rules, right? Like when I sold my first house, you get a contract and there's like 7 pages and you got to, sign this, that there's no radon gas in it or something like that. What I got sent to me yesterday was 84 pages because all we do in California is we keep tacking rules on every year. We tack on about 5 rules and then 10 years goes by and now it's 50 pages now. But this is 84 pages.
Okay.
So I'm looking at it. And one of the things in the questionnaire, one is a declaration that says you're aware of the Universal Studios enlargement plan. Universal Studios has taken land on the back lot and they're spreading it out. They're
expanding.
Build a roller coaster there, right? The house I live in is 22 miles away from Universal Studios. I have nothing to do with Universal Studios. It is far away from me and would not impact me, but I must still sign off that I'm aware of this. And then people go, why? And I'm like, no reason. It's just one more rule and it gets tacked on. And they go, well, everyone within a 25-mile radius, you could live in Simi Valley, but you'd have to sign off on the expansion of Universal Studios. And then another thing that was in there was they wanted to know if I'd ever vaped inside of the house. Vaped. Inside of the house. Inside of my house. If I'd vaped. If I've ever sparked up water vapor.
Yeah.
With nicotine. Vape. Vapor. It's like saying,
doesn't matter.
Have you ever made a cup of tea? Because you boil water and then you dump it into something that grows. Okay. They want to know if I've ever vaped. And I was like, wow. Because that shit didn't. Now, obviously, that shit didn't exist 5 years ago. They keep tacking it on. It's like you must disclose. That's the whole point. It wouldn't necessarily devalue. It's up there with, did someone commit suicide in the house? Like, it doesn't have a practical application, but maybe someone would want to know. But did you vape? But I was thinking about that as I was going through these 84 pages, and I should peruse it and pull out the best questions in there. But wanting to know if I vaped inside of the house is good. And then somebody tweeted me a picture or a short video out front of a stadium in San Francisco where they just went outside and they went in front of an endless wagon train of people cooking hot dogs on the street. And I'm like, I don't think there's any permits here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any paperwork here.
Have any of them vaped while making hot dogs? I don't know.
There's no, I do not see anything from The city, I don't see an A or B or C hanging on the cart to see if it's clean or not.
They are 5 feet apart.
They're
Maybe
5
less.
feet
You
apart.
ever had one of those?
Oh, well, I had other thoughts.
They're
thoughts.
fucking,
close.
they're delicious.
Oh, they're the best. Oh, first off, nothing smells better.
Oh,
like you
goodness,
walk
them
out,
onions. And onions and the bacon.
Right. All right. But here's my point with California. California has 2 sets of laws. It has these people with 0 laws. You cook on the street, you sell whatever you want, you pocket the cash. But if you're selling your house, we need to know if you vaped in your house. And I'm saying that's a problem. Too big a chasm between people who follow the rules and people who ignore the rules,
Well,
and the people who make the rules don't enforce the rules.
If you lie, though, they wouldn't. How would they know?
No, they wouldn't know.
Yeah, so.
But
Just lie.
yeah, well, I didn't lie. I didn't vape in the house. I did a lot of crack.
They didn't ask that.
But they didn't ask about the crack. No, I'm just saying the fact that it's incumbent upon me to answer this question versus you can set up and sell food from the sidewalk with no questions asked. That's insane. But then I start thinking about this. I know a lot of people who, during the day, when they're sober, if you said, we want to go out and eat, and if they saw a C hanging in the window from the health department, they would go, I'm not going.
No
I'm
way.
not going to eat there.
Right.
I'm not one of them, but
You
I
would
do.
eat? You would eat there?
For sure.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All right.
Not me, baby.
What about a B?
A, it's got to be A.
Can't be a B.
No.
Right. But if you got drunk and you stumbled out front of SoFi Stadium and an illegal was cooking up a ghetto dog,
Like that?
yeah.
Oh, I'm all in.
Right. So I'm saying there's a break in logic is what I'm saying, because the place with the B or the C got the B or the C because the mayonnaise is supposed to be under 41 degrees or 61 degrees, and they're at 67 degrees. But these guys are cooking shit on the street.
Yeah, but you can see what they're cooking. And,
Oh, you wouldn't go. I
an
knew
open
this would
kitchen on
work.
the
You would
street.
not go into the place with a B in the window.
But why do they have to be?
They have a B because they vaped. You know what I mean? Some weird little technicality they got busted on.
But your assumption is it's that technicality. How do you know it's not food related?
If I think if it's a major faux pas, you don't get a B. You get busted down to a D or an F or closed down or something like that.
That's interesting because I would now I'm curious to know what constitutes a B. Is it food related or something like that?
Well, okay, let's put it to you this way. There's like 167 possible variations of you not passing back there. Like they're not, they don't just walk in and look around and then leave. They're measuring temperatures on all the accoutrements and the mayonnaise and the temperature of the freezer and the cleanliness and whatever it is they're doing. You could walk into any workplace and bust whoever owned that workplace on 10 violations for no good reason.
You think so?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. All right? I have a workplace here. I don't have the signs, the laminated signs that say all employees are entitled to a 10-minute break every 2 hours and minimum wages that should be clearly mounted like in the front where everyone can see it. Poster size on the wall. Bathroom, I got bathrooms. There's no hand bar. There's no handrail on it for handicapped people to get up and off the toilet. You would need a handicap rail in there. And then you could just go on and pick another 150 things if you wanted to.
Let me bring it back to a food establishment. I have a hard time believing that you could go into Mr. Chow's in Beverly Hills and find some flaws.
I would say Mr. Chow's in Beverly Hills is, probably at the top of the food chain, but there could be a mom and pop pizzeria or a Chinese food place that John Panette would have went to that if they walked into the kitchen, they could find violations.
You could pick nits anywhere.
You could
right?
pick. You used to work at a kitchen, right? You can find stuff. The lid
If
wasn't
you're looking
on the
for
thing,
it, you'll
right?
find it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can get a B and a C, I think, pretty easily.
If you get a B, that means you have minor food safety violations that need to be corrected. If you get a C, the restaurant has numerous food safety rule violations that put it at risk of closure.
Right, but food safety could be,
like you said, a lid
Storing
knot.
food at the wrong temperature, using the same cutting board to prepare raw meat and other foods, using bare hands instead of utensils, food workers failing to wash their hands, or storing toxic material chemicals.
Right, so
next
you
to
could
food.
have a bottle of Windex on an upper shelf and be cutting meat on a lower on the countertop, and that could be a violation. Is what I'm saying. All right, all I'm saying is the average Los Angelino will not go into the C or even the B, as Aries has said, but will stagger outside a SoFi and get 2 of those dogs made by illegals on the street with a propane tank and a modified shopping cart.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not.
Listen,
I
man,
agree.
it's true.
I'm not that way. I'm not that way.
The smell of that bacon
I
and
get
onions
it.
is
I get
intoxicating.
it. I just want everyone to really understand human wiring. Just understand how human beings are wired. You walk out, especially if you got a little buzz working.
Yes.
You know, if you got a little buzz, you had a few beers during the game, and you walk out and you go, you're in. And all bets are off. But if you're sober and the sun is shining, you're not going into that C or B restaurant.
Listen, I've just been educated a little bit now on what constitutes a B. My whole thinking was anything less than an A. I mean, what does that mean? Is a mouse turd in the
Right, but you got to think if the
and for the record, when you went cooked by illegals, I don't know what illegals has to do with anything.
Well,
I'm sure there's some legal motherfuckers that fuck up too.
Not bonded and certified.
I got you.
I'm saying if a health inspector went to one of those carts, it would not get a good number. Now, here's the big question. What if you put one of those carts in front of a restaurant that had a C? What percentage of people would start to walk in, see the C, and turn around, and then smell the grilled onions and get the ghetto dog?
I don't know that they would make the connection between the cart and that place that has the C.
Well, the cart, we all know the cart is completely lawless. I mean, it's just whatever it is. Wherever they got the hot dogs, who cut up those onions, where were they, when did they do it? Did they do it the night before? Did they do it the week before? Did they store it? They've got a house in Sylmar. That stuff was all brought over in a cooler. Yeah.
A C has a 500-foot radius of things I don't want to bother with. So if they're right outside, I wouldn't even do the
So you wouldn't do a C?
No.
Would you do a B restaurant?
I have done B restaurants.
All right, I'd do B too.
Because C is the lowest grade you can have while still being open. But
oh, it is?
I think so, right? I mean, if you
can't get a D,
there's no way they'll let you keep your doors open.
All right, so C, but they'll let you keep your doors open with a C.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm saying,
but there are better options.
Most Americans turn their back on a C or B and embrace the ghetto dog with the cart. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's our wiring.
Yeah.
That's how human beings work.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to everybody, if you're going to do the dog on the street, then you should be able to do the B. That's me. I look at myself as consistent.
You know, the visual of seeing what's being cooked is versus going into the B, sitting down, and you don't know what's happening back in that kitchen where you're going, why did they get the B?
But first off, they have a health inspection. The cart is completely unregulated. Those guys drove in from Van Nuys earlier that day. We have no idea where they got the dogs, who chopped the onion. We don't know where anything came from. They're just there.
But they smell
You're
so
right.
good.
All right. I know. I'm saying it's an interesting human wiring where we think this way, but we don't do that way. You know, like people let their dogs lick their face.
White people.
I don't. But they let their dogs lick their face.
Right.
But if that same person, if you dropped a cashew on the floor in the kitchen, you bent down, picked it up, popped it around, be like, whoa! What is it, baby?
Right.
Which is it? The dog ate a pile of shit 2 minutes earlier. Now you're making out with him, and I ate a fucking honey nut cashew off the floor.
Imagine if we could put the same letter grade system on pussy. Would you do a C?
Now you're talking.
Would you do a C?
Well, that's where the booze comes in. Not at noon. Not on a Wednesday.
But standards can
But
lower.
Saturday night, you know what I mean? Couple of tall boys, things change.
There you go.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll do some news, and we'll do that right after this. Let me tell you about Hydro. Well, don't think you have enough time for your fitness goals? Hydro. Well, they row. That's right. And you can do a very manageable 20-minute daily workout on Hydro and get all the great benefits. It's game-changing. It's a full-body workout, and you can do it in 20 minutes. Designed by rowers, works 86% of your muscles with low impact and minimal risk of injury. Workouts led by Olympians and filmed all over the world. Hydro keeps you motivated as well. 90% of customers are still active 1 year later. I love my Hydro. And yeah, you get a little competitive because you see somebody's up there and they're outrowing you and you want to catch them. And it just works. Free standard shipping, 30-day risk-free trial, 1 year warranty, no excuses. Put that Hydro in your home, 20 minutes, knock it out. I use mine every day. It's a great full body workout and it's low impact. It's Hydro, right, Dawson?
This spring, join the growing rowing community at Hydro. Head over to hydro.com and use code ADAM to save up to $400 off your Hydro. That's HYDROW.com, code ADAM to save up to $400. Hydro.com, code ADAM. May 12th, Bertram's back.
You're welcome, ladies.
Here's a sneak preview of the new animated show from Adam Carolla and the Daily Wire.
Our humanity is tied together like the strands of this rope. Pass it clockwise and pay a compliment to the person across from you. Think of it not as a tug of war, but a tug of peace. Climbing ropes shame the body. Friendship ropes strengthen the soul.
So instead of climbing the rope, they sit Indian style and kiss each other's asses?
You can't say Indian style.
I just did.
I prefer crisscross applesauce.
Damn, even sitting is vegan with you.
Why are you against body positivity?
Yeah, their bodies are positive for type 2 diabetes.
Subscribe now at dailywire.com and tell a friend before the premiere of Mr. Bertram on May 12th. Now back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Aries Spears is here. He's got a podcast, Spears and Steinberg. It's available wherever you listen to finer podcasts. Dates as well. AriesSpears.com. So the pussy rating system. Let's see if we can drill down on that.
Great word,
Now,
drill.
Is there, who's in charge? I got to ask.
Of the rating system?
Yeah, and I had an idea many years ago that I think might work for this. Dogs can sniff out anything.
I love it.
And I had an idea for venereal sniffing dogs a million years ago. Now dogs can smell cancer.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can smell. Dogs can smell everything. They can smell gunpowder. They can smell cocaine. It's not like they know gunpowder or cocaine, but they can find it.
Yeah.
And they could find what cancer has a smell. Like tumors have a smell.
Yeah.
Everything has a smell. Everything comes with a smell. A venereal disease comes with a smell. The dog, who's already right there, you know, a medium-sized dog, pow, right there. You know what I mean? Could suss it out pretty quick, what was going on down there. Now, I don't know if you thought it out. I don't know if
you know, that's actually a sneaky kind of genius way you could get that off because, you know, you get a cute dog and people love cute dogs, especially women. Oh, she goes to rub it, but it's sniffing around. If it a certain sound, you know, I ain't fucking this bitch.
Well, I was thinking of that more for parties, you know, as people enter. You know what I mean? But the dog starts chasing its own tail. It's like, oh, right this way, miss.
Yeah.
You probably enjoy this side of the party a little better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something to think about. But is there a Fauci type who's at the head of this movement? You know, is there a face to it?
I don't know that we want to put a human face to it. You know, I think the dog should be the face.
The dog, okay, the dog
like,
knows.
You know, the bear, Smokey the bear.
Yeah, smart, yeah.
So that way,
And do we have a type of dog that we think might suit this, you know, because they're schnauzers and St. Bernards, you know?
Right. I have to be a cute dog.
A cute dog, but it's got to be medium-sized because
it's got to be able to reach.
Got to be right there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I think the dog should be appropriate to the person.
Well, listen, Lassie was a collie.
Yes.
And it's an attractive dog and the right height.
Yeah.
You know, perfect snatch height.
You trust
you
a
know?
collie.
I don't even know why. You know, maybe that's why Lassie was
Well,
Lassie.
Lassie would be too big for a midget woman. So then
Well,
you
we'd
wanna
have
get
to-
the Taco
well-
Bell dog.
We'd have to get the Chihuahua for the midget woman.
That's what I'm saying. The dog's got to fit the woman.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to have sex with a midget.
You know, my podcast partner and I talked about this. I couldn't do it.
You couldn't.
And I've seen some cute midgets, but it's just something about it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Right.
You know, it's like
It would make your dick look bigger. I mean, on the positive side. You know what I mean?
Confidence, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I like drumettes, but I can't drumette a midget.
No, I get it. I like drumettes more than wings. I feel like in a way that makes me soft.
Yeah, I hate flats.
Does that make me soft?
No, to make you a man.
Liking drumettes more than
Loving
wings?
drumettes, yeah.
I feel it's
I got
like,
a thing about breaking bones.
it's weird,
get,
but
you know.
I like drumettes and I like a Hawaiian pizza, and I feel like that makes
That
me a pussy. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I'm a New Yorker. That is blasphemous.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but I admit it. But I like drumettes.
Where
Blowing
you
your own
from
skin.
originally?
North Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have drumettes or pizza or anything, but
Yeah,
we didn't have anything to eat. But I feel like it's I know you support the drumette. I like the drumette much better, but I feel like I'm not authentic. I'm not keeping it real or something like
No,
that.
you're good. You're good with the drumette. The pineapple on pizza, that's sacrilegious.
Okay, all right. Batting 500 here.
Yeah.
So we go with a collie, and I think we need to have a female dog because that helps. You know what I mean? We'll be not accused
No,
of certain
because a
things.
female dog, women cover up for each other.
So the dog could be helping them out.
So the bitch might help the bitch.
Yeah. So you couldn't be with a midget or a dwarf or whatever.
No. I like really grown pussy, adult grown pussy. I'm not saying midgets aren't grown, but I'm just saying like, ugh.
Something you want to grab onto something.
Yeah, I don't want to feel like if she's sitting on my dick and I'm standing up, she'll stay there.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like we've been henpacked into some sort of world where we're supposed to go like, if the guy was trans, I could be with a trans, like we just kind of with the midget, like I could be with a. I'm sort of like, nah, there's enough able-bodied women around.
Yeah,
I'd like to get through that.
That's like when I
once I got through all of them.
Yeah, no, I would hear people say, one thing about Hollywood is, guys, when you're famous and you're rich and you're successful, a la Brad Pitt, Denzel, they've gone through so much pussy they get bored, and that's why they probably start fucking with men. It's like, listen, man, I will do a world global tour before I go down that road. There's pussy in Bucharest I haven't touched, so I'm gonna never get that bored. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was always my Richard Gere theory.
Yeah.
He's married to Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford's like 27. They're married.
Yeah.
He's married to the best looking woman on the planet.
One of the best women.
One of the best looking women on the planet. At some point, you got to go gerbil.
Where else can you go?
Where else you going? Oh, I fucked a hostess from TGI Fridays in Glendale.
La-di-da.
La-di-da.
Yeah.
How much Cindy Crawford pussy could you get before you went gerbil?
Yeah, I'm gonna go through all the Hooters and all
You're
the
going
fast
through all
food
of it.
chains before I even think about a gerbil.
Yeah. But yeah, there's that thought. The Mick Jagger kind of thing. Like, they've been through so many women.
Yeah.
They just start drifting toward dude.
Yeah, I never had that.
I don't know. I don't think it's like, for me, it's like saying, oh, you've eaten so many great ribs and barbecue and steak.
Yeah.
Why would you? It's like, why? Because this fucking Saturday I want more ribs. That's why. But you've eaten in $1 million. Yeah, I know I have. And I've watched 100 football games. I'm drinking 1,000 IPAs. And guess what? Let's keep going.
There's a quote by one of the comedians that I used to be a fan of from back in the day, Corey Holcomb, where he said, men don't need Viagra, we need variety.
Yeah.
Very
true.
Yeah, so, yeah, man, I never understood the theory of how a man could just be with one woman. That to me, if you only really truly get one go around in this thing called life, why would you do that to yourself, knowing how great pussy is?
Well, it's not like you cement up the pussy of the chick you've been with for 10 years.
No, you don't. But after a while, I don't care how much you like a good Ruth Chris steak. You eat it over and over again, it loses.
You want to go to Morton's?
Yeah, just switch it up a bit.
I get it. You single?
Now I am.
Yeah, after that statement?
Yes.
After she hears the podcast?
Yeah.
All right, should we do a little news,
Yeah,
Chris?
so TikTok says it's going to challenge in court in, quote, unconstitutional law that could result in it being sold or banned in the U.S. We talked about how it was being pushed, and Biden said, if it makes its way to my desk, I'm going to sign it. Well, it made its way to his desk. He signed it, and he gave ByteDance, which owns TikTok, the Chinese owners that own TikTok, 9 months to sell the app, or it's going to be blocked in the U.S.
I don't know anything about TikTok. I'm never on TikTok. I hear, rots kids' minds. I hear there's a version in China, which is not like the version we have here. And I hear all sorts of bad things. But I'm so naive about all things digital and technical that I don't have strongly formed thoughts other than it's probably bad for you to spend a lot of time on TikTok as a young person.
Yeah.
You're much better off outdoors, hiking, doing shit.
Well, that was once upon a time ago.
Yeah, I know. But there'll be a movement. There's going to be a movement.
I'm waiting
there already
for it.
is a movement.
I'm waiting for it. I mean, listen, I'm 49, so, I take it for what it is in terms of just way to kill time with mindless, sometimes good entertainment. But I'm just glad that I didn't come up in the era of today where, as a young person, that's going to consume you.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, what was that M. Night Shyamalan movie where they were like living in the forest? The Village. I think there's going to be a village type movement. There's already Amish and Shakers and Quakers and, that sort of thing. But I think there's going to be a secular version of that where people are just going to go, look, no video games, no social media. We're going to live. We're going to harvest the land, Eventually one guy plays acoustic guitar is going to fuck all of us. That's how it starts.
It sounds familiar.
It always gets there.
Right.
At some point, the guy picks up the acoustic guitar is the guy who's going to fuck your daughter.
Right.
At some point. That's how all cults work.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get back to that. I think there's going to be villages and things.
I tell people all the time, I'm so proud. I'm an 80s baby. I just came up in that era where you played outside, video game. I've always been a video gamer, but the graphics weren't then what they are now, which I said to myself, if they were that then, I would have never left the house.
Right.
But,
How about the porn?
Well, yeah, now it's here. It's, you don't have to go into the back of a store somewhere and be sneaky with it. It's literally in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the blessing and the curse, man. There are some things technology-wise I go, awesome that we have today. But then I look at other things and I go, it's terrible.
Right.
There's no anonymity at all.
Well, I guess every innovation kind of has that. The gun can be good, the gun can be evil,
Right.
Nuclear, you got nuclear power. People don't realize, you can take, and I'll screw it up a little, but an isotope or nuclear, whatever, the size of a softball and run a battleship for 10 years. That's crazy. No diesel, no coal, no nothing coming out of the pipe, but steam.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. And then there's Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know what I mean? So it's every single innovation has an angel and the devil attached to it. And the people that do well are kind of the people that use the innovation and use it well.
But what would be the angel for these kids today, being so consumed with TikTok?
No, that's the downside of technology.
Right.
The upside is more computing power in your hand than Apollo 13 had.
Answers right away.
Yeah, no, that's 7 hours of watching porn every day and snuff films. That's the downside of the technology. Being able to look up, I remember just the ability to go. I was sitting around. I don't know how I got onto it, but I was looking at old race car videos. And there's a guy named John Wire, and John Wire, I think, was out of England, and John Wire was a guy who kind of started the whole Ford GT program that ended up, beating Ferrari at Le Mans, Ford v Ferrari, and the whole thing. But there's a guy named John Wyer who wasn't really in the film, who's kind of the brains of it, put together. The first GT4 was built in England at John Wyer's place, and whatever it is. And then he went on to do Porsche 917s like Steve McQueen and Le Mans stuff. He was a very instrumental guy in all the racing from the 60s and 70s. And I just think about it. Is John Wyer still alive? Where he died in Phoenix, Arizona in like 1998, 79 years old. But it's because of my phone.
Yeah.
Right there. And then I watch a bunch of snuff porn after that to cleanse my palate.
Right.
But I was literally walking up to my bedroom going, I'm going to bed. And then I went, how old was John Wyer? Where's John Wyer? And I just went,
You could find out
He
immediately.
died in Flagstaff.
Well,
in 1989.
to kind of go back to what you said earlier about the logic between, the ordinance with where you live and the zone and this and that. I remember when I was on Twitter, or before I got banned, I was like, so I'm getting banned because of things I say, but I can look at videos of a person being decapitated or a guy jumping off the roof of a building and literally hearing and seeing his body hit the pavement, or somebody shot at point blank range. They don't ban that shit.
Right.
But if I say, whatever I say, I'm getting flagged.
What'd you get banned for?
The inappropriate behavior, like verbal, like I would argue with people.
Yeah.
And, I'm a comic, and when I argue with people, I turn into Scarface balcony scene. I'm shooting 1,000 Colombians.
Yeah.
Actually,
no, it never, first off, none of it ever is consistent or makes sense. That's the whole 9 yards
Right.
when you're going, this guy's restaurant just got a C, and that guy's cooking ghetto dogs on the street. And it's like, come on,
Doesn't make
the
sense.
government doesn't
Right.
care. That's how the government works.
Yeah.
It's like wild inconsistencies.
I mean, even when we talk about going into the future in terms of technology, AI. Like I'm trying to monetize videos on Instagram from me doing stand-up clips, and I engage with the audience and fuck with people, and they're going, we can't monetize it because AI is recognizing it as bullying.
Oh, right.
Stand-up. It's fucking a performance.
Yeah.
But there's no real people doing this. This is algorithms and
Right.
AI, and I'm going, how is this good?
No, it's not. No. But you can, then there's ways. And I can open my phone and go, how long is it going to take me to get to the Irvine Improv on Friday night? What time do I have to leave? And that's a fucking blessing, right?
Right.
Because we all remember the past. We're like, I don't know, is traffic going to be bad? I don't know. You got to give yourself 3 hours. Give yourself 3 hours, but you never knew.
Right.
You never knew.
Yeah.
And now you know. So there's the blessing.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the online mobs, I mean, how's the Lizzo stuff kind of?
Oh, that's completely died down. And once she got in trouble herself, that was like more to my. Everybody was like, "Hey, he was on to something. He was right." So the thing that I and again,
What was the Lizzo situation?
I did an interview, and a guy asked me about her talent, and I started, as they would say now, body shaming. I was talking about her, how she looks.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
But weren't you going, I'm a fat guy too?
Yeah, I was saying, me and that bitch should be handcuffed to a treadmill. Listen,
no one cares.
The phone thing is, you just hit the nail on the head with the devil and the angel shit. Everybody's got a voice now. This thing gives everybody the keys to the liquor cabinet, and everybody shouldn't have the keys to the liquor cabinet.
No, I agree.
It's some people don't deserve to be heard. Listen, this was before my time, but I go, I love it because I saw the documentary and I saw the movie, and I just went, everybody shouldn't be allowed in the Studio 54.
Right.
Some people deserve to be on the other side of the rope waiting forever.
Yes.
It's insane.
No, I agree. I mean, I do. You probably do it too. You talk to people, I want to do stand-up. I go, do you have something to say? And they go, I don't know, I want to do it. I go, well, don't do it if you don't have something. You don't have something to say, don't do it. When it was out, the Vine people, or people that have these quick little skits they do on YouTube or even Instagram. And now I'm looking and I'm going, they're going to be at the Improv doing a night? Oh, yeah.
Based off of
No, I
That
mean, what you
character?
talk
Like,
to,
are you
you
serious?
talk to a lot of these owners, theater owners, club owners, and they're like, we found out the guy only could do about 15 minutes.
Right.
You know, he doesn't
Right.
have an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to book a bunch of other comedians.
But they're selling the joint out.
Yeah, I know. Sad. At least Lizzo can play a flute.
Yeah, she's talented. I always said she was talented. I just said, bitch, put some clothes on.
Yeah.
We don't need to see your whole ass out at a Laker game.
She does a weird thing where she wears like a flesh color unitard and then puts the thong back over it sometimes. So it has some weird illusion of nudity, but it's not. Listen, I always say I'm old school. I like thin Lizzie and not fat Lizzo.
Hey, man, you know, I guess some women would get upset and be like, well, who are you to, you like what you like.
Yeah.
I just never found
too big for you.
fat attractive.
No, nobody does. Nobody
know?
does. Nobody does.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, as a dude with a gut myself, that's the double standard, man. We could be hairless and a little pudgy, you know. Swag is swag, and sexy is sexy. Sean Connery, you know, could bag any chick he wanted at any point, even without the hair.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this clip. It was such a great clip with him being interviewed by Barbara Walters.
Oh, you know, I've seen all the greatest misogyny hits. I know all the most misogynistic hits.
This was the pimpiest shit I ever
I'm gonna
heard.
I'm going to one up you, brother.
When she
But go
goes,
ahead.
oh, you're gonna get male behind this, and he goes, I might get some female. Like if you're a rapper, that's a hot bar. Like fuck the male, I'm gonna get some female. And what's so great about it is he's not lying. There are some women that will be turned on with a little slap. I love it. He put his dick on the table.
But you know the great Deacon Jones?
Deacon Jones. No.
No, you don't know who Deacon Jones?
No.
What?
No, is he black?
He's 5 shades of black.
Love it.
Deacon Jones?
Is that him?
Well, can you not see the man's face because he's so black?
Yeah, I was gonna be mad at you, but now I see it.
You don't
It's a
know
silhouette.
Deacon Jones?
I don't. I'm not a football guy.
No,
I never have
shit.
been.
He invented the word sack.
Really?
Yeah.
Sack is in
term.
balls or like football sack?
I'm sorry, the football.
Okay.
Yeah,
I want to know
ball
if it's
sack.
a ball sack. No.
No, I'm sorry. I thought we had a
What a
context with
legend.
the football.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
I thought you meant like is it nuts?
He had a prodigious nutsack too, but he
All right.
invented.
I don't know what prodigious means, but now I'm curious.
I imagine.
We can
He
imagine what it means.
invented the term sacking the quarterback.
Okay.
He probably was a 10-time All-Pro, maybe 12. He's in the NFL Hall of Fame for sure. And I think they presume that he had he was to be the all-time leader for sacks.
Yeah.
You know, above Lawrence Taylor or whoever. But they didn't keep track of sacks when he played.
Right.
In the 60s and the 70s. I mean, they knew at the end of the game, that guy got 2 sacks, but they didn't have a tally like they do now with the Watts brothers and all that are always going nuts.
It wasn't a big stat,
And
yeah.
also, now it's like he had 2.5 sacks this game, and they're getting into fractions and stuff.
Right.
He had 2 and 7/16 sacks, you know. Like, they're doing
Fraction of
that.
a sack.
But, I know the Connery misogyny thing.
Yeah.
Because I know all the greatest hits, literally, with misogyny. That's how I go to bed at night. I put on my greatest misogyny hits and I fall asleep. You're going to like this one.
Okay, so quote.
All right.
Atkins' threat of breaking arms was the reality of the Deacon Jones head slap.
The head slap was to do 2 purposes. One was to give myself an initial head start on the pass rush. In other words, an extra step. Because anytime you go upside a man's head or a woman, then they have a tendency to blink their eyes or close their eyes, and that was all I needed.
Aries.
Yo.
Here's jaws on the floor.
Yo.
Now they're asking
He
him.
meant that shit.
They asked him how you got to the quarterback. They asked how he got to the quarterback, Aries. Not through the entry hall, to the quarterback.
He really said that shit. And it wasn't even like he was being funny. He meant it.
He meant it.
Wow.
I think we should see it again. I think you really need to digest
And for the
this.
record, I really, when you showed the original still, like that picture, I have a hard time believing he is that black. That has to be poor lighting. That nigga looks like a fingerprint.
I told you should know who he is. That's all. Play it again.
Atkins' threat of breaking arms was the reality of the Deacon Jones head slap.
The head slap was to do two purposes. One was to give myself an initial head start on the pass rush. In other words, an extra step. Because anytime you go upside a man's head or a woman, then they have a tendency to blink their eyes or close their eyes, and that was all I needed.
David,
All right.
If that is not the clip that should be shown at every domestic abuse center to let women know, be on the lookout for this motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, he's dead. So he's head slapping Harriet Tubman in heaven right now.
No, she'd have shot that nigga.
Okay.
Harriet
All right,
Tubman
all right.
carried a
I don't know.
revolver.
I don't know if they're packing in heaven. I don't know how it works.
Listen, again, let me quote Corey Holcomb. He had a great joke where he said, fellas, if you're going to domestically hit your woman, never do it with a closed fist. Always do it with an open palm, because that's just you rebooting the system.
All right, we shouldn't laugh at these things. But again, we're comedians.
Yes.
So we're allowed to say things.
Yes,
We're allowed
absolutely.
to joke.
Yes.
All right. So I'm glad I turned you on to that clip.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, I felt like Sean Connery was being a little funny. That was serious.
He was answering a question. Yeah.
Wow.
But the incredible part about that is he was only asked about his technique on the football field, which did not include any females. And that's what makes it insane.
Well, some dudes, they live life off the field the way they live it on it.
I get it, but the question was, how did you get to the quarterback so fast?
Right.
Not what's up with your old lady. You know what I mean? So since there are no weak side tackles that are female in the NFL, that's what makes it insane.
Yes.
Additional info that you didn't need.
And he paused.
Right.
Went upside a man's head.
And then the description
Pause.
of the blinking
Or woman.
eyes.
But here's the bigger question. NFL Films ran this clip for 22 years, and they never edited it.
Hey, man, that was the glory days, man.
This went to 2008, 2009.
Yeah. These were the glory days,
They
man.
never edited it.
Life just corrected itself over the last 4 years.
It's the easiest edit in the world, by the way, because you're intersplicing game film. So he just goes, I find when you go upside a man's head,
B-roll.
cut, head slap.
Right.
And then they go back to him. They tend to blink their eyes.
Right.
Easiest cut in
Right.
an edit room
Right.
you'll ever do. He gave a beat. Then B-roll, then back to him. Easiest cut you could ever do.
I love
and
how
there
he
was
took on the
there was
persona of a black man.
well, they said they. He said they. They
But it
blinked
was the
their
way
eyes.
they blinked their eyes. It was the way you
blinked
delivered
their
it.
See
eyes.
it perform in front of a black crowd.
Oh, send me to Atlanta, brother. So, easiest edit in the world. And there was a producer in the room. Cameraman, sound guy. No, nothing. And they edited the piece. The piece was edited because they had to intersplice all the game film.
No notes from anybody?
Somebody edited this piece.
Listen,
no notes.
we want to evolve as human beings, but I got to be honest, man. There was something a little je ne sais quoi about the good old days. Like, it's like growing up in New York, when you went to Times Square and, you had the peep houses and they literally had TVs outside the porno theaters showing previews of porn. Not actual like graphic shit, but leading up to it. And just Times Square was a different place.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's just Disneyland.
I know.
It's all corporate,
Yeah, the great, I said, who Johansson? Who the hell wrote that song that I always refer to? David Johansson. No, David Johansson's a comedian. Isn't he a comedian?
What song are you talking about?
Buster Poindexter.
David Johansen is a singer.
No, that's Buster Poindexter. Do you know that, Dawson? He wrote a song about what they did to Times Square, and it's a great, fun, catchy tune that he wrote probably in about 1996 when they were switching Times Square over, about how it used to have this and now it's been replaced with Disney.
Yeah.
But Buster Poindexter Times Square song. You'll find it. Probably
While he's
1996,
finding
97.
it,
Yeah.
quick Times Square story. I ran away from home when I was living in Jersey. And I knew how to get to New York, take the train and all that.
How old were you?
I can't remember. Young teen, probably like 12. And I stole a bunch of money from my dad, like a fistful of cash. And this was back when Times Square was doing 3-card Monte.
Oh, boy.
And I, of course, little 12-year-old kid, I didn't know that everybody, it was a scam.
Right.
So I go, oh my God, it's just that easy to win money? So I basically lost all the money. But the guy felt so bad for me because he saw I was a kid. He pulled me aside. He goes, here's $20 back, man, and go and get out of here.
Wow. How much you reckon you lost there?
I probably lost like $200.
I know. Everyone done the New York 3-card Monte?
always
It's
wanted
crazy.
to.
Yeah, you lose, but you can't figure out how you lose because it's
Well,
all sleight of
everybody
hand,
that's
right?
winning is in on it.
right.
The people, it's like 3 people, the guys that's doing the cards and 2 bystanders, right, who are going, oh, I won.
So
and he gives
easy.
them the money, but
Yeah.
they're all in on it.
Yeah.
All right, what's the name of that song?
Still looking.
Well, it's from an album. Would have been from 96, maybe 97 in there. It's the only one he wrote about time. They tore down Times Square. Then it's not, Times Square is not in the title. They're just what they did to his beloved town.
If you YouTube Poindexter Times Square, wouldn't it pop up right like that?
One would think, but I don't know.
The Nueva Broadway.
Yeah, let's see if that's it. What year? Let's say it's from.
I don't.
Trying to think because
97.
97. Yeah, he was on the Love Line, and I remember going, "Oh yeah, that's what they did to Times Square. They turned it into a mall.
Yeah, exactly.
They took all the fun stuff."
Yeah, no, you can't get mugged no more over there.
Is Buster Poindexter still alive? Is the question, Dawson.
Have you ever been scammed, Adam?
I was on. I was down there with Jimmy and one of our weird friends named Cow, and he
You just say cow.
Cow, and we Cow did the 3-card Monte and got scammed. I think I did 3-card Monte. I just did it once, got beat, and
Yeah,
kept
it's all part of it.
kept going.
I've gotten white van speaker scam.
Oh, I got van speaker, but I didn't get scammed. I bought speakers from a guy in a van, and they were speakers.
And they worked. So
Yeah, they were. I probably weren't nearly as good as whatever it is.
right.
He was talking about. But I did buy speakers from a guy in a van.
Is that a scam?
That's a scam. Yeah, like they put
Well, they
up
put a
next to
cinder
you.
block in the box.
Well, they
Yeah,
put up next to you.
I've always had a couple guys approach me about that, and I just never. I was like,
Yeah.
nah, I don't.
Oh, I just got done from a job. We got these extra speakers, and we got to offload them before I get back to the warehouse. You want to buy them? They're like worth like $5,000, but
Right.
give me for like a couple hundred.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
they just-
No, what I did, I remember very well. I was probably like 20. I was like 21. And I bounced our rent check. And I was living in an apartment in North Hollywood, 1 bedroom with 3 dudes. And so I bounced my rent check. And I went to the Home Savings and Loan in Studio City. That's my bank. And I had to try to put money in or do something so the rent check wouldn't bounce again, And then I went in there, and when I was walking out of the Home Savings, there was a dude in the van, and he said, "I'm selling speakers." And even though I was fucking broke, I got done bouncing a rent check, I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll take some speakers." And I bought these speakers, and I took them back to my apartment, and then I plugged them in my apartment. It was like middle of the day, middle of the week. And my roommate said, we got to test these speakers out. So he takes Eruption from Van Halen, the crazy guitar solo, and he puts it on. And then he starts cranking it and cranking. It's Eddie Van Halen just going nuts on the guitar. And at the time, we had a slot car set up in the living room. It was only 1 bedroom apartment, so if we set up a slot car set, we're doing it in the living room. And my roommate also went and he bought rabbits for some reason. We had these 2 giant rabbits, and they were just running around.
Where'd you guys have room to have all that sex?
Yeah, well, I didn't get a lot, but so we had rabbits, and we also collected a kitten, a little tiger kitten. There's film of it somewhere. You can find.
Y'all had Neverland in your house.
My kitten. You can find my kitten. There's videotape of the kitten chasing the rabbits around the living room. You've seen this? I showed you this. And there's a slot car set and a bong, like right in the infield. There's a bong in the middle of the infield with the cats and the rabbits. And so cranking up Eruption, and it's crazy, as loud as it can. It's like noon on a weekday. And I'm listening, I'm going, these speakers are pretty good, but I'm hearing, like in the back, I'm hearing like, I'm hearing like a concussion, and I'm like, and at a certain point, I'm like, turn it down. I think someone's banging on something, and we turn it down and the front door. And there's my gay landlord, Jim. And I open the door and he's just looking at me. He goes, well, you bounced another rent check. And he goes, I just came over and I could hear you guys when I was climbing out of the car. And then he looks in and he sees the bong with the rabbits and the kittens and the slot car set. And he's like, what's going on in here? And I go, oh, Jim, this is a very rare occasion. It's very rare. This never happens. He'd come there one time. And the one time he showed up, he heard Eddie Van Halen. He got out of his car on the street. We're on the second floor. In his world, this is just Monday. We just hang out with rabbits and blast Van Halen all day. And I was like, Jim, no. And he's like, you bounced another check. I was like, I know. I went to the bank. I just put money in. We were testing out speakers. I just had the day off work. I always work, And he's like looking around. And he's like, what? He just looked at me. And sometimes you can break a guy so badly that they're not even angry. He just going, I just don't know. I don't know. And he started walking down the stairs. He was talking to himself. I could see him shaking his head going, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. And he walked out. But that's when I bought those speakers. We tested out those speakers, and Jim, my landlord,
I thought when you were doing the banging, it was going to be like something was in the speaker.
No, it would have been good. But no, it was just him pounding on the door. I mean, he only came over there because I bounced the second check. That's why he physically showed up. And he's probably just going to shove it in the mailbox or something, but he heard it. And this eruption was so loud that you could clearly hear it out on the street when it got out of his car. Rabbits running around. I'm trying to think. Is it labeled? We should label it.
I haven't seen that video in over a decade.
It's been a long time. We haven't done a wonderful labeling job in the past.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it would read. Rabbits, kitten,
you should
apartment.
Give it a catchy name, Running Rabbits.
Yeah, we never labeled stuff. We just have videos, and then we somehow mislabeled stuff, so we can't find old stuff. Newer stuff, I think we can find. Well, Dawson, if you find it, let me know. Apartment, old apartment, I don't know. Vid, it's definitely vid. All right, let's do one more show.
All right, so speaking of TikTok, so there's this TikToker named Ash, and she posted a video that went viral because she applied for a job at TJ Maxx and she didn't get it. Mm-hmm. And she tells a story in this video. We can just watch and we can find out why she thinks she didn't get the job. Mm-hmm. She certainly has her idea as to why, and she'll talk about it here.
All right. Oh.
So I wanted to come on here and talk about something that is really starting to annoy me. So I applied for a job at TJ Maxx a few weeks ago, and they denied my application.
Right,
they couldn't even call me.
She's got devil horns and Satan, and her whole face is tattooed, and she's got that weird nose ring thing, which drives me nuts. It's distracting. She's very aggressively face tattooed. Here we go.
So I applied for a job at TJ Maxx a few weeks ago, and they denied my application. They couldn't even call me. They just sent me some automated email. So I went in today and I was like, so what was the reason I didn't get hired? And she was like, oh, you just don't have enough experience. There was candidates that had more experience than you. And, you know, I asked her if it was about my tattoos, obviously, because I know a lot of places don't like tattoos. She said that wasn't the reason. I don't feel like that's true, but whatever, I'll leave it at that.
She'll leave it at that.
She'll leave it at that. I think it was the tattoos.
If I was the person that she came to see, I would have just simply went, I'll be right back. And when I come back, just show her a mirror.
Yeah.
They have those at TJ Maxx.
Yes,
Just
bring a big mirror and go, this is why.
I would have showed him the Deacon Jones video and said, you're on the clock, bitch. Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, look, the people defile themselves and then they go out and then they victimize themselves. They go, is it because? Yeah, it is. But it's because you did that to yourself because you wanted to get a reaction because you were molested. That's just how it works. That's how it works. Nobody knows how it works. I know how it works. I did Loveline for 10 years. I know exactly how it works. You scramble someone's head, then they go out and they do this, and then they become victims all over again because, oh, you're not hiring me because of what I did to myself. Yeah. If you took feces and you rubbed it on your face, then I wouldn't hire you. But you don't have to do that, but you chose to do it. And then every single time it happens, they go right to the tattoos, right? They go, oh, is it because? Yeah, it is because. You got what you wanted, bitch.
Yeah, I worked at TJ Maxx. I have no tattoos.
That's right.
So,
also, people do this thing all the time where they go, I got some sort of automated message. First off, you weren't running for Secretary of State. You tried to get a job at a TJ Maxx in Glendale, bitch. You're allowed to get an automated rejection notice. The owner.
Like they even do that.
I know. Like they should have just been no answer. You're not hired. You know, it's like give me the dignity. And people do this all the time. They go, this person called me and didn't have the dignity to look me in the eye. And it's like, why would you want that? You didn't get the job. Why do you find out you didn't get the job by not getting a phone call?
Right.
By not getting contacted. That's how every job I didn't get. No, every second date I never got. You know, I found out because of nothing. I'm still waiting.
Right.
Still waiting on a lot of these women. No, they didn't have the dignity. There was no second date because there was no fucking phone call.
Yeah.
All right, Dawson, you find that clip? No, it's weird. What would it be, Chris?
We're searching slot car. We're searching.
It might not even be on that. That computer's not even.
Carolla apartment.
It might have been before that computer.
Yeah, you got to go kitten. Maybe kitten. Did you do kitten?
We'll try kitten. We did.
Oh, you did kitten. All right. It's not in that computer then, but we'll have to make a mental note, right?
Yeah.
It's in another computer?
Must be.
Do we have another computer?
We have other computers.
All right.
Somewhere.
Then we'll find it. Aries, let me give you a plug. Spears and Steinberg's the name of the pod.
Yes.
And then there's live shows coming up all over the place. You go to ariesspears.com for that. Yes?
Yes.
I thank you for your candor.
Oh, I was just letting you do your thing, man.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah. Pat Boone's out there.
Oh.
My God. Pat Boone, 89 years young. Aries, thanks for coming in.
Can I give the specific dates?
Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I did, but I'll do it again.
Oh.
Myers Theater, May 9th. Wilbur Theater, May 11th.
Yes.
And then MSG, Hulu Theater.
Yes.
At MSG.
Wilbur is in Boston.
Wilbur's in Boston, where Bill Burr plays to a predominantly white crowd.
Yeah. Until he plays to a predominantly...
Until he goes to Atlanta.
The black crowd.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. Be back with Pat Boone right after this. Just thrive. Life can be overwhelming, and it's not just your mind that suffers. Stress messes with your digestive and immune system as well. Just Calm, the breakthrough new stress-busting formula from Just Thrive, exclusive mood-lifting blend, is clinically proven to help you relax and breathe easier. In as little as 4 weeks, I take mine every day, every single day, and I love it, and it's award-winning. And it's a probiotic, and it's a game changer. Pop that pill every single morning, a little capsule. Spore-based probiotic with 1,000 times better survivability than most probiotics. Banishes bloat and constipation. Your gut can produce more serotonin. That's your happy hormone. Plus, it supports better sleep. It's the best. I love these guys. It's a great product, and you should try it. Just Thrive. And all has a money-back guarantee, right, Dawson?
Right now, when you go to justthrivehealth.com and use promo code Adam, you can get 20% off a 90-day bottle of Just Thrive Probiotic and Just Calm. That's like getting a month for free. And a portion of every purchase goes to Vitamin Angels, a nonprofit organization that saves the lives of millions of children and moms to be around the world by ensuring they get the vitamins and minerals they need to stay healthy and strong. To learn more about this groundbreaking company, don't miss Adam's interview with Tina Anderson, founder of Just Thrive. Take control today with Just Thrive. The Adam Carolla Show presents Pat Boone's birthday cocktail party for June 1st. Let's see who's here. Here's the American religious leader of the Latter-day Saints, Brigham Young. Here's the character actor most widely known for playing the wizard in The Wizard of Oz, Frank Morgan. Let's welcome actor, comedian, and television producer Matlock. Andy Griffith is here. Here's the politician played by Tom Hanks in Charlie Wilson's War, Charlie Wilson. Morgan Freeman just walked in. From Blazing Saddles, it's Cleavon Little. Scottish actor Brian Cox joined the party. Here's the bassist for the power trio Triumph, Mike Levine. Heidi Klum just walked in. Alanis Morissette is here. Amy Schumer joined the party. It's Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and Some Like It Hot, and Marilyn Monroe just turned it up a few degrees. Pat Boone is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Pat Boone is 89 years young, turning 90 soon. It's going to be at the San Juan Capistrano Coach House, historic venue. That'll be May 11th, and you can get tickets at patboone.com. Pat Boone, let's see, second biggest charting artist of the 50s, behind only Elvis Presley, sold more than 45 million records and had 38 top 40 hits. Just an amazing career that has spanned decades now, so congratulations on that.
Well, great to be with you. I'm feeling good today.
When did it all start for you? No, I know. I mean, you were so, see the USA in a Chevrolet.
Yeah.
All that stuff from the 50s. I mean, it's, God, this society has changed so much.
Boy.
Since you started. Oh, man.
I don't recognize what I'm seeing on the news right now.
It's incredible, right?
It's not the country we grew up in. It's become Nazi Germany or something like that. It's wild.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. I'm very, very concerned, of course, and I know that's what we're not here to talk about necessarily, but yeah, the things that have happened in my short lifespan of almost 90 years, it's just unbelievable.
Have they sped? Let's find one of those old Chevrolet commercials just so you guys can sort of
see the USA in your Chevrolet. Yeah. America's inviting you to call.
Things were wholesome back then.
Yeah.
It was wholesome, and then everyone made fun of wholesome, but it turns out wholesome is better than whatever this is.
You certainly live longer.
We'll play. What year is this from, by the way?
Which one?
Do we know? Well, I'm asking my team. They can figure that one out. No thoughts?
We don't know.
You don't know. Does it say?
50s, I'm sure.
You heard about the crazy new way to send a message today. It's flashed on a screen, too quick to see, but still you get it subliminally.
That Doris Day?
No, Dinah Shore.
Oh, Dinah Shore, yeah.
See if you can see what's coming through.
I knew there was a D in there.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 59 Chevy.
Oh, well, there it is. 1959 crack research team.
Do you have one of those?
No, I don't have a 59 Chevrolet. But it was such a different...
Yeah, they were big.
All right. That's what life used to be like in America.
Yep.
And people like my mom made fun of people like you.
Yeah,
but
and I
people
became
were
known
happier
as
back then.
The square of all time, Mr. Square.
You may be considered in a textbook square.
Definitely, yeah.
But here's the question from someone who's been around and seen it. The change, it's happening faster and faster.
Oh, yeah.
And we're kind of gathering up speed in this sort of toboggan ride to hell. I feel like we keep picking up speed because from that point, 1959, things were different in 1969, but still 3/4 of America was like you were back then. It wasn't a big, universal sort of sweeping change.
I was Mr. All-America, and Elvis came along, and suddenly he was breaking the rules and taboos and becoming a major star. And I was matching him record for record in the 50s. I had 41 chart records in the 50s. He had 40. But I had a 6-month head start on him. And of course, we were looked to be polar opposites, where I was married, having a baby a year for 4 years. I was still in college at Columbia University.
Wow.
And I'm about to burn my diploma as a result of what's happening there now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were exact opposites, and yet we were two boys from Tennessee. I grew up in Nashville. He grew up in Memphis. And we were friends, and we knew we were two Tennessee guys that were having extremely good luck. He was not married. I was. He was theoretically available to all the young teenage girls, but he was the epitome of the bad guy who, with the cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve, and laughing at the jocks and the students, thinking that they were squares, and the girls, being fascinated by them but not supposed to date them.
What the hell was Nashville like back then?
It was just middle America. That's what Nashville was. The country version of middle America. I mean, it was the Grand Ole Opry and church and everybody, wearing ties and yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and, politeness. And it was all of that. It was all the stuff that America, made America originally what we were all proud of.
No, I agree. I always sort of use the example of diet and exercise. That's all that was. Family, polite, God, religion, America, patriotism, respect your elders.
Drink your milk.
Drink your milk. Like super boring stuff that everyone pushes back against, but it works.
It did. And, I became subject for joke materials. Johnny Carson and many of the comedians, and Dean Martin, many times in his shows, would say somehow he'd bring my name into it. That Pat Boone, he's so religious. I shook hands with that boy the other day. My whole right side sobered up. And everybody would laugh, and I would repeat that in my own shows, quoting Dean, and then Phil Harris on the Andy Williams show. It was not in the script. He just ad-libbed Phil Harris, the comedic band leader. And Andy, and the three of us talking, and then they departed from the script, and Phil says, Pat, come on now, pal, level with me. You drink, don't you? And I knew he meant alcohol. I said, no, you don't drink nothing, never, no. And he turned to Andy, he says, can you imagine waking up in the morning and knowing that's as good as you're going to feel all day long? And then he said to me, oh, Boone, we kid you, we kid you, we love you, but in fact, he said, if I had a son, I'd want him to be just like Pat Boone till he's about 3 years old. I mean, I lived with that,
Yeah, you were, what would be a nerd or square.
Yeah.
Back would be a square. They were called back in the day square, and everyone's growing their hair out and living their life. And now you're flourishing all through the 50s, but now we get into the 60s, and we get into Vietnam, and we get into Richard Nixon, and we get into that whole Kent State, and we get into that whole era, Grateful Dead, Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco, Summer Love, and all of a sudden Pat Boone is the antithesis of whatever's going on, whatever's hip.
Yeah, and of course the old saying is, it's not how you start, but how you finish. Well, as most of the people that have been making jokes about me and calling me a square are concerned, I'm happy to be able to announce that I have now become the most recorded artist in history.
Really?
I've recorded 2,700 songs, separate songs. Frank Sinatra, 1,500, all classics. Bing Crosby, my role model, some 2,000. I've kept on recording all of these years, and I've got 3 on the country charts right now. And by the way, one of them is my stupid tattoo that you were just talking about a few minutes ago. And it's becoming a hit on country radio.
Well, here's the ultimate. Records are great. 3 stars in the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all the accolades. But all your detractors are dead. Everyone who made fun of you is dead.
True.
Everybody who made fun of you in the 60s and the 70s are dead.
The saying used to be living well is the best revenge, but really it's just living.
Just living.
Living is the best revenge.
Who has made fun of you who's still alive is the question back in the day, and the answer is you, and that's all. Nobody's made. No one's out.
I wrote a song eventually. Are there any more squares out there? Folks that believe in the golden rule. Help me prove I'm not a doggone fool. Are there any more squares out there?
The golden rule.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what happened to the golden rule?
Whoa.
Okay, listen, everybody. The golden rule is the most important rule to run a society. Mm-hmm. And
do we dare quote it?
We used to talk about it.
Do we dare quote it? And for the folks who don't know what it is,
do unto others. Come from Pat Boone.
Do unto others the way you would like them to do unto you.
Simple. Yeah. It solves every problem. It solves every problem. It solves over litigious people with crap lawsuits.
Yeah.
Would you like to be sued? Then the answer would be no. It stops your dog taking a crap on someone's lawn and you not cleaning it up. It stops you cutting people off on the freeway. It stops everything. It's a cure-all, catch-all,
bulletproof,
fix-all. It is the duct tape of advice. It's good for everything. It fixes everything. The golden rule. Mm-hmm. And when I grew up, it came up a lot.
Yeah.
They'd say, "Remember the golden rule?"
And people would make a joke about it.
They make a joke, or like if there was like five kids, right? And then someone opened a pizza box, and then some kid leaned in and grabbed 4 pieces and started, "Oh no, the golden rule. How would you like it if somebody took all of your pizza? Now 1 piece for everybody. The golden rule." Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not brought up. It's not discussed. It's considered a sucker's game. No politician I've not heard a politician discuss that. They only talk about the aggrieved and the systemic racism, the people are being oppressed. All they're doing is agitating and angering everyone. There's no more golden rule. It's never discussed. And it's in a Wow Wow Wubsy cartoon that was the beginning of the end. And I tell everyone, and I said it the day I saw it. My kids were 6 years old. I came in here 12 years ago, and I said, this is the end. And in the song, this very popular, this is an animated series where they're talking to children. Mm-hmm. He says, remember the golden rule.
The golden rule.
But he doesn't say do unto others.
Oh.
Let's hear it. Cool is not the golden rule, you asswipes.
Golden rule.
It is not. It's the destruction of society. Doing whatever you want and being yourself and also having a functional society do not work together. There is a golden rule. It's the opposite of be yourself, and you'll be cool. You idiots. You poison everyone's mind with the self-esteem movement, Pat.
And that is so prevalent now. I'm juxtapose the golden rule with what I just saw on the TV news. As while we're talking, it's still there. People trained, professional, crowd. What's the word? Agitators with their loudspeakers, giving them little things for the kids to like robots say, as you just saw in the thing there. And I'm not going to repeat what they're saying. But they're telling them what to yell out loud, and they're like obedient little school kids, parroting what the paid protester is telling them to say.
All right, but it's the adults' fault. I've been telling adults, you're the adults. Yep. Stop treating your kids like they run the house. They're kids. There's nothing magnificent or special about them. They're like any other kid that ever showed up before them. And I get it, you love them, but that doesn't mean society has to part the Red Sea for your little punky kid. Leave it alone. It's the adults. The adults did it. I cannot tell you how many times I've said to adults, like, stop it. Stop with the coddling. Stop with the self-esteem movement. What's wrong with the self-esteem movement? What's wrong with it is everyone thinks they're number one, and that's the opposite of a society, you idiots.
Yeah. And unfortunately, those parents haven't taught their kids basic little simple things about how there came to be an America.
No, they learned the golden rule from Wow Wow Wubbsy about being cool.
Yeah, and what are the principles on which America was built, and what are we supposed to believe? What do we say we do believe? But the kids today don't know. They have not been taught, and of course we know now in schools that teachers don't want them to know.
Yes.
Many of the teachers are teaching them directly opposite things.
Yes.
But including, are you not happy with the sex you are? Oh, well, we can fix that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an inherently flawed system.
Whoa.
And I'll tell you why. If you are interested in the profession of teaching, you're already telling me something about yourself, which is you're more socialist than you are entrepreneurial. Because you're saying, here's what I want. I want to get paid to go to the same place every day. It doesn't have to be that much, as long as I get a whole bunch of days off. I get 3 months during the summer. I get a long winter break. I get an Easter break, and I get a bunch of me days and non-working Mondays and whatever it is. So you're saying it's a self-selecting group where you're going, I want to be out of the competition. I don't want to be duking it out there with all the small businesses and all the entrepreneurs. I'm not hanging my own shingle. I'm going to a place and I'm pulling myself out of the race. So already, let's say you lack the entrepreneurial spirit. That's strike one.
Yeah.
Strike one. This isn't a bunch of commercial realtors who teach your kids, because they'd have a different message. These are people that said, I like my own little form of socialism. I want a guaranteed paycheck. If I do my job good or do my job poorly, it doesn't matter. I get the same paycheck, and I just get a bunch of time off. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I'm college educated. I went through the system, and I'm a product of this system. Number three,
I'm accredited.
I'm a 23-year-old female. That's strike three. You're already there. We know how you vote. We know what you think. We know your take on God. We know your take on racism. We know your take on slavery. We know your take on all the World War II. You probably don't know anything about it, but we know where you're at with all these subjects. Now, your job is to mold the mind of a bunch of 7-year-olds. Well, how do you think this is going to turn out? Well, okay, what if we just took Palestinian leaders or Hamas leaders or any leader, Mormon leaders, anything, vegans, guys who love NASCAR.
Yeah.
And we said, you're in charge. Guys who love NASCAR, you teach all this everything. And your kid would be coming home going, Darrell Waltrip was really underrated. And you'd be like, what? I thought we were talking about history. Well, let me tell you something. Smokey Yunick could build a car better than anybody. And you'd be like, what are you talking about? No, because that guy's into that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting now. So don't expect this to go any other way, people. How could it? Kind of surprised it took this long.
Bankruptcy. It's literal bankruptcy. Literate bankruptcy. We're being taught somebody's vision, skewed vision of what the world's supposed to be. It is not, and it can't be and live and succeed. But we're going to teach it to them anyway, as if it were the truth. And what's supposed to be reported news is propaganda. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But a lot of folks, I cannot get my own family to read the Epoch Times newspaper. Are you familiar with the Epoch Times? And because it was created by some folks in China originally who were resisting communism. And now they are persecuted in China.
It's EPOCH?
Yeah. Epoch. But it is a real conservative newspaper. It's more of a newspaper than the New York Times. It actually reports facts, literal, proven facts by known real experts.
Well, we're in a place where the 25-year veteran of NPR basically goes, we just got suckered into a bunch of the same type of groupthink, and we should do a little better job as a journalist. After all, that's what we're here to do. And then that guy gets put on probation. First off, why do you need to put a guy on probation who's a journalist who's speaking as a journalist?
Yeah.
Because he said a few unflattering things about your organization that everyone knows is true?
And they're not really journalists.
Or why don't you dispute him? Why don't you go, oh, Hunter Biden's laptop? We're all over that story. Let me play you the tape. Oh, you don't have that, but you buried it. Oh, okay. So all he did as a journalist is report what you do as a reported journalist, and you're giving him a leave of absence? So that's how you guys work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we're supposed to give you money from the government so you can tell us what the news is? Huh.
This man is a patriot, by the way. I mean, he's lost his job. He may still be there, but and he may not. I don't know if they're going to fire him.
He has dignity.
Yeah.
And he quit.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you're going to punish me for being accurate about where we're going as an organization, what we've been doing. And he has dignity. He's like, you can't fire me. I quit.
How about this guy, Mike Johnson? Talk about heroes. Talk about a guy wading into the muck and the swamp and just saying, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. If I lose my job, I lose my job.
Yeah, we're going to. There's going to be. We're going to need more of that.
Yeah,
we're going to need more people on both sides of the aisle going, here's what I know. Here's what the truth is, and I will speak it. And if there's an issue, there's an issue. Mm-hmm. But as long as you told the truth, then you've done your job.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is you tell the truth, and then you let the chips fall where they may. There's a big issue with weak people. Weak people turning into evil people because they're weak, because they're being corrupted, because they're soft and weak, and they don't stand for anything. I had this talk with Dr. Drew. We talked about it for like a half hour the other day. I heard Tucker Carlson was talking about this, and it's something I've been kicking around in my head for a long time, which is the people you have to worry about are the weak people, because the weak people turn into evil people, even though they're not evil people. They're just weak, and they end up doing evil things, but it's not because they're evil. It's because they're weak, and they end up buying into it. And there's a lot of that going around. Like, I don't think Joe Biden is evil. I think Joe Biden is weak, and he just does what they tell him to do. Everyone who is in a slip and fall lawsuit or something like that, they're not evil. They're just weak. They don't have dignity. They don't have strength. Right. They don't have character.
Right. Yeah.
And we've done away with talking about stuff like character and dignity. And most of the people that end up doing horrible things are really just weak people with no constitution who can be bought or manipulated.
And if they can be good at being weak, they may become successful.
Well, that's why they always come across as a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting. And Tucker was talking about it. He said, if you were the devil, you wouldn't possess somebody that was loud and obnoxious. You'd find a weak person and you would inhabit their soul, because they can get away with a ton. They can talk about think about all the people, talk about the children and sitting down at the table and everybody. Why are they talking this way? They're doing horrible things and talking about all the God's children and the people and having to sit at. So they're basically opening the border and letting terrorists come across the border and talking about the children of the world. They're weak people that are doing horrible damage and then talking about all the happy and all the frilly and all the BS word salad talk.
Can I be daring? I mean, stop me. Just put your hand
ahead.
Cover my mouth if you want. But one of the things that's tearing us apart right now in the country is, what are we going to do about Israel and Hamas?
Yes.
And I've come up with a plan that I think is a simple, practical, rational plan to solve the whole thing about Gaza.
I'm all ears.
First of all, there is no Gaza. It's gone. And now Gaza, the name and the land, was part of Israel for 3,000 years and more. God gave it to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not to Abraham, Ishmael, and Esau, not to the ones that became the Palestinians, but the ones who became the Jews, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He gave that land, and all the Bible maps of the first century and on and before shows Gaza, this little strip of land, as part of Israel. So now the Palestinians have claimed it. Okay, so now Hamas took it over. Okay. Now it's torn apart and it doesn't exist. It's absolutely gone. It's just pockmarked, destroyed soil
Rubble.
and buildings, rubble. So here's what we do. We build a new city. It's got to be built somewhere, but don't build it on the same piece of land that would make it the perpetual boiling point against Israel, because Israel's not going to go anywhere. God's seeing to it Israel's staying right where it is, and Gaza was always part of Israel. It was deeded to them by Ariel Sharon when he was prime minister. And they took it over and gave it over to Hamas. Hamas has now made it what it used to be. Now it's just rubble. But build a brand new city over on the eastern part of the Sinai Peninsula, only 200 or 300 miles down the coast on the Sea of Aqaba. Build a brand new Gaza. Let the Arab states contribute to it. Build a wonderful new city-state, and Egypt contributed to it. They own that land in the Sinai Peninsula, but nothing's happening with it. And it's in the same land. It's the same kind of soil. Everything about it's the same. It would have seaport on the Sea of Aqaba. It would be about a 4-hour, you have to build the road across the desert, but build the road down somewhere close to where Mount Sinai used to be, wherever that was, on the Sinai Peninsula. Build a new Gaza and a brand new city, and let little that strip of land just finally grow into whatever it was before, just grow up and cover up the ruined soil and to get rid of all the rubble, take away the source spot that the Hamas name of Gaza, move it on down to a different place on the Sinai Peninsula and start over again.
Well, I think there's a fundamental problem. And I think the problem is many people in that region want the Jews dead. And
that is the problem.
That's the problem. And so you can't really come out and say, I want the Jews dead. Just like when you're tearing down a statue here, you can't say, I hate this country. You just go, I hate George Washington or the founding father. He was a slave owner, whatever it is. But really, you hate this country. More specifically, you hate your dad. That's how it goes. And all the people that are on Columbia, your alma mater.
Yeah.
You got that alumni check in the mail?
I graduated magna cum laude, but
Really?
it was a different school.
All those people that are out chanting and screaming, all the 19-year-old women who don't know what they're talking about from the river to the sea, or they don't know anything about the region, they don't know anything about Hamas, they don't know anything about Israel, they don't know anything about Palestine. They hate this country, and they're raging. That's all this. It's a tantrum. So we try to figure it out pragmatically. We go, maybe a two-party solution, or maybe they had their own lot, or maybe we built them. So that makes sense in terms of what they say they want. But what they want is the destruction of Israel and the killing of the Jews. And unfortunately, building them their own place doesn't cure that problem. It cures the problem they say they want cured, but that's not the problem they want cured.
Yeah, so if they really want a solution, what I just suggested would solve it.
But they want to live in peace. There's a version of living in peace that Israel is all for.
Yeah.
But you don't want that. You want the Jews dead. And they can't say it because then it makes them sound like what they are. So they don't say it. But we're going through that right now in many other facets in this country. People, we just want that. You just want what? You want destruction.
But
is
let's
what you
get
want.
to the bottom line. The bottom line is, and not everybody wants to hear this, but the bottom line is that there is a God, and he rules the cosmos. He spoke it into existence. You can't mess with or change God. He exists. Even a book I've written recently, my last book called If, I quote some pretty good scientists named Stephen Hawking and Einstein and Charles Darwin, who all admit publicly, that is in print, that the cosmos and the existence of the universe defies existence. They don't go for the Big Bang theory at all. It couldn't have just created itself out of nothing. So one of them, not Darwin, but Einstein, I think, said there is a spirit abroad in the universe, in the cosmos, which we cannot comprehend. So we'll concentrate just on what we can comprehend, which is the science of it. And then the other, Hawking, said something about there is a design of things, and that it's, indicating there must somehow be a designer. But we just deal with the facts that we can, as scientists, cope with. What they can't pronounce, they're educated people, but they can't pronounce a three-letter word, G-O-D. God created the world. When he created the world, he determined after destroying two civilizations who's let him down, first with Adam and Eve and then Noah, and then the people of Israel let him down a couple times, and he let them cease to exist, but told them that he would bring them back together eventually, and they would become a nation again. And so all of that has happened by design of the God who created everything.
What's he going to do to rectify or solve this situation?
He's letting us make the decision. But the point of that is that if he made Israel his chosen people, which he did, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and on, that made everybody else the target for God's enemy. And that explains why the hatred of the Jews cannot be based on any reason. It's nonsense. It's insane. Why do we hate a few people, Jewish people? What is it about? It is not sensible.
I agree.
It is insane, but it is demonic. And if you know that if you believe the Bible and you believe there's a God and there's a Satan who is God's adversary and who was once, the Bible scholars do believe that Satan was once the leader of worship in heaven. He was an exalted angel. He's described as an exalted angel who, at some point, pride was found in him, in effect saying, "Hey, I'm pretty cool myself. Why don't people worship me for a while?"
It's the golden rule.
Yeah.
Be yourself and you'll be the coolest, and then you'll be like Satan.
Yeah. That's the cause of it. And so then when God chose these, according to Satan, these poor, comparatively worthless people as his chosen people, that made them his public enemy number one. There can never be acceptance of the Jewish people on the minds of godless people.
Yeah, I agree. It saddens me.
And it is.
And
so
I wish
we make the choices individually.
No, I get it. I don't get why more people don't get it. Why more people don't understand. It's so clear what's going on over there. I'm basically an atheist, and it's clear as a bell to me what's going on in that region and how we've brainwashed. But again, we go back to the 23-year-old female college-educated teacher who buys a little more into the socialist system than our system, who is now getting hold of these kids starting at age 6 and starting to wash their brain of all logic. And by the time they end up at Columbia at 19, they have no more brain cells to rub together.
They become puppets.
Yes.
Really puppets.
Yes. I don't think they know what they're talking about, which is really the ultimate definition of a puppet. You have a bullhorn and you're screaming something into the bullhorn that you don't understand. That's a puppet.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
just mouthing.
You would never last 10 seconds in that region, these people. Should we play a couple seconds of your song?
Which one?
My Stupid Tattoo.
Yeah, sure.
I thought.
Since you were talking about it, yeah.
since we got it.
All country artists have except me.
They all have.
Say, what do I do with this stupid tattoo of a heart on my neck that says Susie? It's as blue as the mold on a cheese that's too old. What a dipstick won't do for a floozy. I thought she was cool, funky, hip, and old school. I was blind as a bat in a blizzard. I said, what the heck, and I inked up my neck. Now I look like a lopsided lizard. Hey, some fads, they come and they go, like the wind and the rain with the weather. I should have slipped the Dixie thing, a mood ring. Her name's gonna stain me forever.
All right, that is Pat Boone, my stupid tattoo. Pat's going to be at the Coach House May 11th. God, keep going, Pat. Tickets and dates, by the way, for Pat, still playing. Still wowing the crowds. PatBoone.com is where you go. There's a cruise coming up as well. Voyages of Paul tour, and you can cruise to Rome and Greece. That'll be October 5th through the 15th. Tickets at PatBooneCruise.com.
Yeah,
and
come see Bible Lands, and where many of the churches were absolutely historically born in Greece and Turkey and that part of the world. And we're going to visit together and see where a lot of these things began and what some of the answers are.
Well, I miss squares. That's what I would say. Squares like Pat Boone, man. I'm so tired of hipsters. I'm so tired of wokesters. I want some squares in my life because they get the job done. Pat, God bless. Happy early 90th birthday.
Thank you.
It's always good to see you, my
feeling
friend.
good and going strong.
I'm going to be in Salt Lake City at Wise Guys May 3rd and the 4th, and you can just go to AdamCarolla.com for all my live shows. Aries Spears, AriesSpears.com is where you go. PatBoone.com is where you go. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Aries Spears and Pat Boone and Chris Max Pattis saying, mahalo.